Hey guys, my name's George. I currently operate the Strive Training Club, which is a personal training gym just here in Doubleview. We currently help people in their 40s, 50s and 60s get stronger for life, stronger for the long run. Currently though, right now in the next couple of months, we're going to be launching our own recovery club. We're also going to be launching a few little side projects as well. This is one of them. It's going to be called A Daily Pursuit. This podcast, it's going to be all things self-improvement, business, training, and just talking to people who are in the startup phase about how they're designing a meaningful life for the long run. So yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be really, really fun. For me, the daily pursuit, it's always been a thing of taking action, small steps, daily is kind of how I've always liked to frame it with myself. I think a lot of people, like you and me both know, like we're quite ambitious in what we want to achieve. And I think that destination for most is always too far, where the effort that they feel like they're going to put in, it's just not, they can't actually see themselves getting there to begin with. So for me, the daily pursuit has always been taking that like little 1% action daily. Like even for us here right now, right? Like the fact that we've got a fucking full podcast set up, who would have thought 3 years ago someone who was super nervous to even be on camera would be in a setting like this? But it's just by taking that kind of action daily and moving towards better. So that's kind of what the daily pursuit means to me, mate. For me, and when I was in the position of starting up this business, and let's even think, God, 10 years ago now, it's always been in my mind. It's quite a lonely place for someone that has a dream to do something bigger than just going to a 9 to 5, right? And when you're in that season of your life and people around you, not that they don't have an ambition, but they're not probably thinking outside the box, it becomes quite isolating. And there was a time there where, I felt like I had no one. It was just me and, to be honest, all the thoughts I had in my head and the dream that I wanted to get to. So for this, it's talking to other people who are in that kind of similar season of their life, or have even escaped that season of their life through that startup phase, and helping other people and making them feel like they have a little bit of a connection, a community, that there is kind of a light, I guess I could say, at the end of the tunnel, rather than it just being all doom and gloom and feeling isolated. I think is the big one for this. So it's going to be just bringing others along for the ride, is why we're launching this, mate. It's funny, it's kind of how I'm even positioning my own content right now. It's going to be for like myself 10 years ago, that guy that was at ground zero, that 20-year-old that had ambition, but to be honest, had not a fucking clue how he had to get there. So for this, it's going to be giving that person that has the ambition, has the drive, to do something big in this life, but give them a bit more of a roadmap on how to kind of get there. It's funny, I wouldn't change anything that I've done to get here, because I think I keep surprising myself bloody every 6 months, every month, and kind of the leaps and bounds we're making. But I think for me, I'm someone who can work myself into a grave. And for this year, the biggest thing that I would say to that kind of founder is you need to take time to pay yourself first. Something that I've introduced into my life has been that Kevin's rule, which we've talked about, and just the mental clarity I have to make actual better decisions, rather than being the founder that's, I'm just going to work my ass off and never take time for myself. That's probably the one thing I would have changed for the dude that was there 10 years ago, because fuck man, it felt like the last 10 years it's been freaking amazing to even get here, but it's also been a blur, and I felt like I didn't even do anything to pay myself first. It was just pure grind. And this year I feel like I've found that balance, but it also is tough. You're going to have seasons where there isn't really that time, but it doesn't have to be bloody holidays and shit. It's just taking, even if it's a Friday afternoon, to just take time for yourself. That's kind of what I'd tell myself 10 years ago. I vividly remember it. The big turning point was I was working a job I really hated. Like, fuck, I hated this job. But it also served its purpose of even getting me started here. But I was up on a holiday with my partner. We're up north. And I'd always been at the gym looking at these personal trainers, and no offense, just the coaching quality within those spaces was so poor. But I'd always see them coaching and be like, fuck, that's a cool fucking job. I'd love to fucking do that. Like, and I really sat there, and you do a bit of soul searching, right? When you're up north and you're like, shit. I have this saying that if an uncomfortable person will make really drastic decisions to get to where they want to be. And I actually, funnily enough, which I really freaking love the dude because he was the catalyst for me making this change, was actually James Smith. He's not a life coach. I hope I haven't butchered that up, that book. I can't read, so I listen to his podcast. And I just think that turning point of reading that book and really just being like, you know what? I can either sit here and do this for the next 40, 50 years, do something that I really hate, or take a leap of faith. And even if I even said to myself, even if it doesn't make me money to begin with, I know that I'm really passionate about just helping people. And I guess my catalyst for, I guess, helping people, probably not the right word to use, but how I see helping people is through health and fitness and creating that connection with them. So that was kind of the catalyst of me, changing. I think it's done so much for me. When I was at school, it's funny, Noz and I were talking about this actually on our last day. We were doing all the editing and stuff, and I was always seen as that gym guy. And it was tough because sport has done so much for me. Especially the dude that was really freaking nervous at school. That gym setting felt like a place where I could kind of disconnect and just not be me, but I didn't have to think about the external thoughts. God, even what do people think of me? What are like all those kind of thoughts you have when you're like 16, 17, 18. And for me, it always was that place of almost like that third space, that home. And my passion was to help others find that kind of third space. And I think it's a big reason why the sort of gym we've created here is that friendly, non-intimidating, safe and supportive space, which goes against usually the norm of what the settings are, which is, that's why I'm really passionate about helping people through that means of health and fitness, because of what it's really done for me. Intro to the gym. Yeah. Oh God, a Jeff Nippard fucking video. Get down there. No, it definitely was like, I was always a smaller kid back in rugby, and unfortunately, I think rugby taught me a lot about discipline. For me, when I was up in school, I knew that I wanted to... It's an interesting one, this, because I loved rugby, but I think I loved rugby for how much my dad loved to see how well I did in rugby, which is interesting. So for me, and I was never the most edgy, like, I was not a smart dude, that's for fucking damn sure. I was always a little bit creative, but I knew that one way to make him proud outside of education, because I knew that was never going to be the thing for me, that was going to make him not proud, not that he wanted me to either, God, but I knew sport was that kind of, that place that I could facilitate, like, you know, Dad's going to be like, fuck yeah, that's my son that's got into the Western Force. So that was like, that time was, how the hell am I going to get into the Western Force, which I think pays a lot to like thinking how I think now with that kind of daily pursuit is I knew that I had to get to the under 18s team. Like that was a non-negotiable. So for the 5 years at school, I was known as the rugby guy. And that was how I got started in the gym, was like, how can I put on more size to be that guy? So I think I was like, fuck. I would have been freaking like 12 years old in there, just fucking no form, just like trying to put size on. I think I only trained legs because I said to myself, I was like, what's the biggest muscle? This is my theory. What's the biggest muscles in the body? I was like, oh, my legs must be the biggest muscles in my body. So I trained no upper body. I just did legs 3 days a week. And I was like, fuck, no nutrition education, nothing. I'm just going to eat like my life depended on it, which goes against everything that we do now. But fuck, I reckon I was having 2 to 3 family burger boxes at KFC per week just to like put on fucking so much size. And it's funny, I went away for the summer. I think it would have been year 9. And I was the smallest freaking kid at school. Like, I was about 40 kilos. And I came back the next year and I was like 70, 80 kilos over the summer break. It was all fat. Like, I just put on some disgusting fucking weight. But the gym had always served that purpose to help me get to where I wanted to be, right? And yeah, I think I missed the question now, but you want to... I think we've got there. I've gone on a tangent of my, you know how I talk. Yeah, I think it's twofold here. My dad had this way of just working for others. And I knew Dad's true passion would have been rugby. And I think if he had a bit more structure maybe in his life, in his high school kind of back end of, I'm not really... Yeah, if Dad had a bit more structure with his family in his like 16, 17, 18, so he probably would have played professional rugby. So the fact that Dad had always done so many different jobs, like when I was getting brought up, he'd gone to the army, installed Foxtel, made signs, he'd fucking done everything. I think the main driver though was to support his family. And he ended up working at, a mining corporation like we do here in Perth, and doing drill and blast, and then he got himself into an engineering role. And for him, I remember this conversation we had, and he's like, George, I really hate what I do. Don't do anything for money, just do something that you're really passionate about. And the fact that when I sat there and I was like, wow, like this guy has done a job now that he's hated for the last 10 to 15, 20 years just to support us. That, I guess that discipline, and that he's kind of traded his life for us, which I think is what a lot of parents do. That was a big driving force for me, and that built that kind of daily discipline, that daily pursuit. But the other one would be my grandfather. So Granddad started off as a one-man band back in, God knows, I'm going to probably butcher this, like, I'm not going to say it because I think my times are off. Anyway, he started up a company when he was about 16, 17. And he now owns one of the biggest air conditioning refrigeration companies. And it wasn't something that happened overnight. Granddad came from, his family wasn't rich. They were quite poor. And to hear the stories when I was getting brought up about the guy that started off with a van and now he's got a company full of, I think they have almost 100 to 200 staff, and they've got multiple sites in Perth. That was where a bit of inspiration came from. But for me, I knew that I wasn't passionate about, I guess, like the traditional means of like what a founder-led business is, like a startup, like a tech startup, or, a building company. That was never something that I was truly going to be passionate about. So for me, it was like, what's my passion? What are my values? What do I just really love to do? What would I really want to do that I could do for free? And that's where that kind of, I found fitness was that means. And now it's a bit more of just helping people broader in general. I think it's also a big turning point for me now is I've had a lot of people guide and support me to where I am today. And now I kind of want to pass that baton of knowledge on to new coaches as well coming through, and create long-term careers for coaches in the Australian scene. Do I don't know. Yeah. Do we cut this as well? I don't know. Yeah, we do, eh? I don't even, I was like, fuck, dude.
If it's a normal podcast, we're not
No, but yeah, this one we ate. I know, that's why I feel like but these questions are deep, so I'm sure.
Yeah, just don't try and stay on the question. You just keep rolling.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I think, wow, okay, cool. Because I just want to keep doing that. I was like, oh, shit, am I still on the question? Or?
That's fine. I think that's completely fine because there's a long form experience. It's gonna be great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I did.
It takes on a bit of a journey.
Okay, cool. Because I don't know if I'm going too off tangent and shit. Okay, cool. If you're happy to talk like that, I'm sick. Yeah, there's a lot of currently right now in the fitness industry. There's just not long-term careers for the coach, and for us here at our gym, it's creating those opportunities for people to build a long-term career in fitness. So that's been another big mission for me now in starting. Yes, I've started Strive. Yes, we're launching a recovery club, but now it's like, how can I really inspire and uplift other coaches in the game to kind of get a little bit of a taste of what I've experienced so early on? That's going to be massive for me in the next couple of months. I think it's probably twofold. The industry itself isn't seen as a real job because there's a lot of, let's call it grifters, people that probably don't know how to coach, but coach anyway, and they're not seen as. And it's also the education, like these courses that people are leaving. A PT cert 3 and 4 takes them 6 months. They're really not ready to handle all the things that come with actually, you really are a business from day one. And I think, well, the stats show most personal trainers quit after, I think it's 2 years. So I think that's why, seen from outside in, for people looking at a personal trainer, they see it as just like oh yeah, he's just doing personal training for the next 6 to 12 months. It's a bit of it's a crossroad kind of job. It's something that only a young person does, but you're never going to be able to support a family. You're never going to be able to have a life that you can afford to go on a holiday, afford to buy that nice home, So I think it's removing that stigma is going to be a big one. And that's just going to take time though. That's going to take time because for our team and what we're doing here, it's changing that concept of what a personal trainer is thought to be, which is, to be honest, a lot of personal trainers I see at these kind of globo gyms, they're purely there as reps and sets counters. And they take weights off for their clients, and they sometimes go down on one knee to make it look like they're doing something. And I think for the education for our coaches right now, it's the number one thing I tell them is everything that you think, reps, counting sets, freaking moving plates away, we don't even do any of that in our gym. What you're there is to be a guide and to help the client build autonomy. But the only way to do that is you need to be highly educated in all the things of strength and conditioning, behavioural change, nutrition, so you can pass that information on. But I think that really comes back to the guides and the mentors of who is actually upskilling and coaching these coaches to make it seem like to make it be an actual professional career, rather than just being a piece of paper where you go straight into a gym and then you get kicked out the other side 2 years later. I'm someone who's pretty curious. You would say that I'm curious of learning everything. I always want to be a master of it. And it would be probably my strength and my biggest weakness as well, because sometimes I go too deep on things I don't need to go on. But I truly believe in being a master of everything before you can outsource it to other people. So for me, it always started off with, for rugby, how can I be the strongest and the biggest dude on the field? And I would just sit there, like, it sounds ridiculous, but I would sit there on Google Sheets writing programs for other people. I didn't even know what I was writing them for, because I had no clients at this point. It was just purely sit there. And I reckon if I went back into the Google Drive of mine, I would just have thousands of programs that I kept experimenting with. And that, I guess, addiction to trying to always keep improving has been something that was massive for me. And how I've I'd say get here is that constant pursuit of better, I guess you could say. So that's where I first started off from really having that true passion for strength and conditioning. Then it moved into more, obviously, for this business and how we operate, the biggest thing is going to be marketing, sales, systems. So it's always been, I've found myself going down these rabbit holes, which has just been one door opens and then I guess you step through and then another 3 doors are in front of you and you can step through any one of those doors. And I think that's really cool. I think that's how I've kind of always lived my life, is keep pushing forward and trying to get to the end, which the problem is there is no end to mastery. The actual pursuit is where you always stay. So yeah, that's kind of where it first started, just that young guy trying to learn a little bit about S&C, and it's got us to a point where we are now. It started off as me, and I was the face of the business. I was doing the coaching, I was doing the sales, I was doing the marketing. This is massive. You got to know it. But the bigger thing for me is you'll never get to a position where we're going now without an amazing team. The team that we have in-house now, like I'm 100% certain is the best coaching team in fucking Perth. Like there's no denying it. And I think it shows from, we're very big on our numbers here at this gym, and the gym and how the performance is going. It's better than when I was coaching, which is really cool. I think as a business owner, it's really tough passing on that baton for something that you've worked so hard to get it to that point. But giving people that sense of leadership has been massive for me. And it's been the biggest lesson in the last 6 months, is to almost, it sounds horrible, but work myself out of a job. And work myself into a job now that is more leadership and building careers for the trainers that we have in this gym, which has been really cool, because all the knowledge that I'm learning now from you guys through like our media team and learning all the marketing and the sales, it doesn't just make it all about me now. It makes it about how can I then grab that information and then pass it on downstream and be that source of, I guess, truth to these personal trainers coming through our doors, and then creating and branching out more careers for them. So that has been the biggest lesson in the last 6 months, has been you're only as good as your team, and your team is everything. Yeah, and it's kind of like you call yourself your founder, CEO. It's kind of a bit like, gives it that icky kind of feel. It's a mentor. It's a mentor to the coaches that we have here. A lot of our team that come in here, they're truly passionate about helping people, and their main source of how they help people is through the coaching practice that they do within our 4 walls. But a reason a lot of personal trainers really struggle is they're not confident on camera. I used to really not be confident on camera. So they don't know how to market. They don't know how to sell themselves. They don't even know really the finance and the data and the systems behind how this gym has even got here. Most of our clients, they think that we must just coach and then we go home for the rest of the day, whereas they don't know that our team is, like, for instance, my gym manager here, Carrie, that girl's pretty much operating this site now. And it's because she's had that willingness to grow and learn off me, that she now knows how to operate all the crazy, you know me as the systems dude as well. She's literally operating all the systems that I've built for myself, and now I've been able to pass that kind of information downstream onto her. So it's been, I hope that kind of answers your question, but that's just kind of been a big one for me, is passing on that kind of source of truth, I guess you could say, to our team. And then it just going downstream from there and creating almost like a funnel, I guess you could say, of bringing in junior talent and then allowing them to build up their career within our kind of 4 walls. Yeah, it kind of circles back to that when we first started. It was just, I'm so excited to see the new team members that are going to come a part of Strive. And obviously the people that we're helping, right? Like, we want to be known as that friendly, non-intimidating personal training gym, and I've always said this to the team, that's our value. But we also want to be known as they're the best fucking coaches in the game. And so for us, that's what I'm most excited about, is helping junior coaches who have that passion of like, I really want to be a freaking good coach. I don't feel like I belong in these kind of globo gym settings. I'm not that kind of, I don't like that kind of bodybuilder-esque kind of training. I'm not the sort of person that's going to wear that tight little stringer. I'm fully glammed up in makeup. I actually want to really help people and make a difference in their life. So I'm really excited about bringing on that new talent and kind of paving that way. And then also, like, our mission for the next 10 years is to open 10 gyms in 10 years. And to provide we don't even know the sort of roles. I've said to the team, like, the roles are going to open up because we're at a point right now where we don't even know what we need yet. It's kind of what I'm saying. Like, we're going to be thrown new shit every single day. This podcast even has been one of them. And so that's really exciting as well, to know that we're going to have all these different roles kind of opening up in the next couple of years. And how can I guide and support our team to, I guess, pass on that baton and really make a difference and an impact and be Australia's friendliest wellness brand.
And how does the third space for recovery help into that?
Yeah, it's interesting launching this third space, because I actually was a little bit nervous about doing it at the start, because I guess it goes back to I'm trying to think of what the saying is, but it's chasing two things. I guess chasing two rabbits, you get none. I think that's how you say it, but close enough, you know how I am. I was actually a little bit nervous about it, because it is the number one. The gym is everything, and helping the careers of our PTs in here is everything. So this space, yes, it's in the wellness space, but it's a completely different business model. And it's something that it's going to take a lot of time investment, which is obviously why I've brought you guys on as well, is to help me with the marketing side of things, because to be honest, that's going to be the majority of what that business is. So I'm really excited to see probably a different sort of client and the people that we're going to support in there. That's really cool, because for the gym, we are very specific in who we help. We've got 220 members here. They all think the same way. They have the same goals. They're not a one-size-fits-all person, but we are very niche in who we help. Whereas out the back there, we know that that's going to be a different kind of person. So I'm actually just excited to see the highs and the lows of what that business is going to throw at us. But it's also, I'm nervous that it's just going to pull me away from what's going so well in here. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. It goes back to, like, our mission is going to be really broadly getting people healthier and fitter for the long run. So that long run, and obviously we know from a contrast therapy point of view, how great that is for a lot of chronic conditions. So that's always going to be that business's main kind of, let's call it legs, is still helping people for the long run, but also creating a really safe and similar values to the community that we have in the gym here. Still, yeah. Is creating that space for connection for people as well. So I think it's still going to tie into it definitely will tie into our broader kind of mission of creating Australia's friendliest wellness brands. It's going to be unique to this kind of site. It's definitely not going to be something that we just like keep scaling, I guess you could say, and opening up new spaces. Let's not even talk about the recovery. You've been trying to get me into the sauna for the last 6 months. Yeah, it's something that I'm working on. It's funny, I've even got a sauna at our place right now, and I haven't used it for the last 6 months. So that's...
You haven't used it yet?
No, I've used it. I just haven't used it in like literally right now for the last, it'd be close to, maybe not 6 months. I'm putting Mayo on that. Maybe 3 to 4 months. So the recovery, I do need to get better. hence why I'm leveraging you guys quite a lot, because you do it as a daily practice. It's funny, it's not that I don't see all the benefits of it. It's actually purely I just need to get better at paying myself first in that respect. I'm someone who really, you know me, I struggle to sit still. So sitting in a sauna for 15 minutes, I really struggle to do it. Like it just, I've got so many things in my brain. My head is just like, not that my head's a scary place to be right now, but it's like I have so many things I'm thinking about. When I'm sitting there for 15 minutes, I just have all these thoughts coming in there, what I could be doing, what I should be doing, which is something I've got to work on. But something that I've really made sure of this year is this kind of art of paying myself firstly from a self-improvement point of view. So making sure that I do 90 minutes of self-improvement daily. The other one is going to be 90 minutes. So with that self-improvement, actually, I'll unpack that a little. The self-improvement just looks like learning a new skill. Like for the last 3 months, that's been heavy on videography, marketing, personal branding. Hence why we're here right now and what we've got to. And that goes back to that daily pursuit of trying to get better daily. The other one would be 90 minutes of business work. That's leading the team now. Also marketing and sales, product, making sure that we're maintaining that high standard of coaching excellence within this site. Then it goes back to paying myself from a kind of holistic wellness point of view, which looks like making sure that I'm consuming, 80% whole foods most of the time. I'm definitely not the sort of dude that's going to say I'm eating fucking chicken and rice and broccoli. Used to be. I was that dude. Probably borderline an eating disorder at one point. It was fucking pretty close. But making sure that I'm just fueling myself with the right foods, because last year I was eating good macros. Like, don't get me wrong, it was high protein, it was the right shit, but it just was like just cardboard. So making sure that I am eating that kind of whole nutritious foods. And the other one is making sure I'm doing some form of daily movement. What that's looked like for me is making sure that I'm getting those 8,000 to 10,000 steps in a day. I know that I don't love rigid numbers. I don't like giving our clients rigid numbers. For me, that just, it makes me get out of the house and not sit at a desk. You and me both know we love what we do, so we can sit at a desk for 12 hours and then go, holy fuck, where's all the time gone? So that's like a non-negotiable, and then that form of like training as well. So I've only missed one session this year, which I was pretty bummed out about, but that was because I had oysters in Bali and I was fucked. That was fucked. That was a fucking heavy time. That was a catalyst actually for the running, actually, because now I've had to drop a little bit of weight because we're on that marathon prep. So yeah, we're a couple of kilos down now. So yeah, making sure I'm training daily. What that's looking like right now is 3 to 4 strength sessions a week, which is what we kind of tell our members here. And then aerobic training outside of that, so some running as well. That's kind of been, it's boring. It's actually funny. I say the boring shit is what's going to lead to your success, and those little things you do every day, not just, I guess, the talent that you think everyone else has around you. It's about doing those boring fucking shitty jobs daily that moves the needle. So
Tell us about the marathon.
oh yeah, this is cool because it's really cool that I'm raising it for charity. It feels bigger than me. It's funny, I was training yesterday, and so when I left CrossFit, so I left rugby, and then I had nothing. I didn't have that kind of fuel to train anymore. So I was like, what am I going to do? And I got into CrossFit, and that was really cool at the time until my body completely broke down, which I think is everyone's CrossFit story. And then the last kind of 2 years getting myself all back to square one from all the injuries I had through CrossFit, it's felt a bit meh. Like my training's felt a bit just going through the motions, which is weird for me because I own a freaking gym. But it's kind of just, I felt like I've been on just coasting a little bit. And now that I'm like training for this marathon, but it's bigger than me, like I can't wait to help the crew at my charity of choice is the National Breast Cancer Foundation. So sadly my grandmother passed away of breast cancer. So it feels really like purpose driven, and now I'm doing it for them. So training right now is, the running volume is freaking ramping up. I think we're 14 weeks from, and the goal, we can hear it on the pod here, is 3 hours and 30 minutes is what I'm trying to do as someone who is not a runner. I am so far from it, but it's looking like right now, 1 interval session a week, 1 long run, 1 kind of tempo run, and then 1 easy base kind of run. And then a lot of balance kind of work right now, just making sure I've had a lot of tendinopathy kind of injuries. So the gym work it's dropped a lot. It's 2 to 3 gym sessions per week right now. Pretty light on the legs, but it's more balanced kind of work from the lower kind of body, and making sure I'm just maintaining that kind of tendon health right now as we start to ramp up the running volume. Because to be honest, like, I haven't run further than 12Ks ever. And what's a marathon? 42. What I've heard, I had a few clients telling me about it actually, and I've heard that it's uphill. It's hilly, is what I've fucking heard. And the other thing that really scares me is CrossFit. The thing I love about CrossFit is it's just like, when you're in that space of just like, fuck, you're hurting. You're hurting like a dog. You know it's only going to be like 12 minutes. And you're going to make it through. Like, even if your back goes a little bit, you can grind through it. But what I've heard from this marathon is, if you don't fuel yourself correctly, you can get like 20 Ks in, and then just everything seizes up and you're done. And that's your day. And that's kind of scary to me, which is why I'm working on all these kind of balance-based exercises, rehab-based exercises now, because I want to support this charity and make it to the end. I don't want to be that guy that gets 20 Ks in and then completely breaks down and has to walk the rest of the race, because it just doesn't, it wouldn't feel right to walk across that finish line. So they're the two kind of things I'm a little bit nervous about, is the kind of terrain, but then it's also making sure I just finish to begin with, because we've all heard those horror stories. Yeah.
How important to you is finishing stuff that you start?
Yeah, that's massive. You know me, I never want to be that guy that says he's going to do something and then just doesn't do it, or is all talk. Talk is real cheap, and I think it's something that we're seeing right now through social media, and people are craving that authenticity right now. Is so many people are saying they do something, and then they're not the person they said they were. And for me, and I think it's, when you said this to me, it honestly made like my week, is you said that I'm the best executor you know. And that was really cool to hear, because it's not like give yourself a pat on the back, but it's something that's like one of my strong values, is making sure that if you say you're going to do something, actually go and do it. Take action. And I guess that circles back to that daily pursuit. It's a funny marry up, this one, because I am actually quite obsessed with where I want to get to. The thing is, though, if you're obsessed to get somewhere, you need to make sure you stay disciplined on the small tasks that are going to get you to that destination. I think a lot of people, and I've definitely been there in the past, I've been over obsessed on getting to a certain destination, and I've gone around in circles chasing different things in search of what I thought would get me there quicker. But there's never that here's, do this and you're going to get to this. It's always the little small disciplined steps you take that you'll get there. So I think those two marry up quite nicely. I think any founder, though, it starts with obsession. It's never going to be, if you're not obsessed about it, you're not going to freaking work those 24-hour days to get to where you want to go. But it's making sure you stay disciplined on the small little steps to get there, and not chasing things that come your way, which is, especially as you start to grow as a founder and as a business owner, a lot more opportunities are going to come your way. and you need to make sure you are staying disciplined on that straight and narrow to the actual goal you wanted to get to begin with. Yeah, I'm getting better to saying no. I think the number one thing that I've kind of introduced into my life, because I'm someone who loves to come up with new great ideas. Like, I've always got a new idea every day. Oh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. I make sure I sit on it. So I write it down and I sit on it for 90 days now. And then I come revisit at the start of like each quarter and I look at the ideas and I go, if I still think that's a great idea, I'm going to run with it. If I don't think it's a good idea, I remove it from the list to begin with. So that kind of holds me on the straight and narrow because I'm always constantly thinking of new shit that I could be doing, And yeah, that can pull you from where you actually want to be going. Yeah, this one was probably a jump at it. No. 6 days on the list, yeah. No, this one, I knew at the start of the year, one of the goals for this year for me was, I hate the fucking thing right now about building this personal brand. Like, it's something that's out there right now about personal branding and everyone's trying to build a personal brand. And I love this. I heard it online. It's like, if you want to build a personal brand, you actually have to be doing fucking cool shit. And I think there's so many people trying to teach you how to build a personal brand, but you're like, that person, I don't really do fucking any cool fucking shit. So for me, and building this kind of setting is, we know that we've got this freaking massive goal to get these 10 gyms in 10 years, open up a few little secondary kind of business under our kind of Strive wing. And I just want to make sure I document that for the sort of guy I was 10 years ago. And I guess this was just a form of expression where I could really show up and be my true self and be as authentic as I could possibly be. So the potty itself was probably, we knew that we wanted to do it about a year ago, I'd say. Did we have the time? Because that also comes to play a factor. Probably not. But we're at a really good point now where we can do these really cool things like what we're doing right now. So no, I reckon we sat in it for about a year, but it's definitely the ramping up in our branding efforts for this gym and for myself and for the team. It's definitely the start of this year. It's definitely a main focus for us in 2026. Yeah, I want to be a guy that really changes the standard of the fitness industry in Australia, but creates a space where those people that were really scared to come into a gym can find that safe space that has served me so well. Twofold to that though, like for me, I definitely want to be a parent. I definitely want to have kids. Like, I'm one of 5. One of my original mentors, and like this guy, like I used to sit there when I was freaking grinding, but he was like the best dad. And for me, I want to create an opportunity for myself to be available, to be with my kids for school drop-off, to be able to go to all their rugby games, to be able to, see the girls do their ballet. And for me, and I think of what a lot of parents, and even my parents, they did as much as they possibly could. But when you're working these jobs where they don't have the flexibility to be able to design your life, me in designing this gym and what we're trying to build is to create opportunities for our staff, myself, to be able to have the ability to experience those other things. That's not just a job. We can create greater purpose for them to build a life with their kids for the long run. And that's where that's the direction, the legacy I want to see this gym and this business. It's kind of grown bigger than just a gym now, is be able to keep doing the things you love with the people you love for the long run. So that's kind of the legacy that we want to leave on this planet, I guess you could say. It sounds so. I actually got asked this yesterday, and I actually, not that I struggled to answer it, but I think a lot of people are extrinsically motivated. Like they want to be seen successful by other people. And I've never had that. I think that's so fetal, that kind of, relying on others for the motivation for you to get somewhere. And for me, I've always been a sense of that intrinsic motivation. And I don't know, it's a bit about almost like, sounds a bit fucking strange, but it's always to prove myself that, oh, what if I do that? Do you reckon you can achieve it? And it's purely playing that game with myself. It's never been to prove, that person that said gyms make no money. Oh, I'm going to prove that person wrong, that gyms do make money. It's more been, how can I prove myself that we can say that we're going to do something and then you go and do it. And it's just that constant pursuit of better. So I don't know what my, it's an interesting one. I love to just, there's so much this world where what you can learn. Like, and I think putting yourself into a box of, I'm just going to stay doing something for the rest of my life. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing. I know what I kind of want my life to look like in 5 to 10 years. Like, I definitely want to design a life like that where I have the freedom and the flexibility to go to spend time with the people I love. But as they say, when you start a business, it creates another door to start another business. So I think it's just that constant pursuit of growth and learning is kind of what I'm addicted to right now, and mastery of just skills. So that's kind of what I guess I keep showing up for myself and trying to prove myself wrong. Could come down to a little bit of like upbringing, I guess, as well. And I definitely am someone that has like ADHD. So there's always that kind of constant voices in your head of what you could be doing. And I've always had that battle. It sounds like I'm going mentally insane here, but I've always had that internal battle with like that kind of person in my head of like, do you reckon we can do this? Do you reckon we can have a crack at that? And it's never been, I've never sought permission from others to go do something. I've always thought if I want to do something, that's what I'm going to go do. I don't care what others are going to say about fucking anything in my life. I don't believe that. I've never liked that kind of term of asking others for permission, because you're putting the power in that person on how you want to live your life. And that just, for me, I fucking hate it. I want to I have the keys to where I want to go in my life. And that's probably why I'm so intrinsic motivation, is I just intrinsically motivated is, it's a tough one. I just feel like I have the keys to where I want to go. And if I want to do something, I'm not going to ask someone else for permission to get there. I think in any sort of field or passion that you want to do, I love to circle it back to our coaches, right? For, let's just say, getting even on front of camera. Let's just say you know that you need to get there. You know that you want to maybe be a PT and put yourself out there in the industry and help more people. But to do that, you're going to have to market yourself. You know that you're going to have to get in front of a camera. I think a lot of people are quite nervous to do that. And what I've always said to myself, if I'm nervous to do something, I think about that person in my head, and the exact person that's making me nervous, because it's usually one person. And I name that person out in my head, and I say, who's that person that's making me feel nervous to make this decision? And I call that person out in my head, and then I say to myself, is Ben going to stop me from getting the things I want in this life? And I call that person out. And when I say that to myself, it kind of goes like, oh, fuck, I'm giving all that power to this one person on how I'm going to live my life for the next, and not get what I want to get. Fucking, and when I say that to myself, that's enough to be like, fuck Ben, I'm going to go fucking do this. So usually isolating that one person is the exact thing that I do to go kind of get over that nervousness, I guess you could say, to start the thing that you want to do. I feel like you open one door and then there's another challenge. You got to slay that next dragon. The biggest one was leaving a well-paying 9 to 5 to do a job that didn't guarantee even a future in matching the earnings that I used to come from. And I guess external people looking in, they're going, that's going to be the dumbest decision someone could ever make. Especially circling back to that kind of sunk cost fallacy. I think that thing kills dreams of people, that they invest so much time that they've invested this time of, let's say, 5 years into a degree, which is what I did, 3 years in corporate. For me just to throw it all away, people would see that as, I can't believe you wasted all that time. And the biggest one for me wasn't so much the other people caring, because I've told you I'm not extrinsically kind of motivated. I don't really care what others think of me. I think the biggest nervousness was I had got myself to a point where I think a lot of people, this is the trap of mining and oil and gas, is you get into a role early on and you start to dabble in the fruits of your labour, where you start to get the nice car, you get yourself a nice place to live, and that becomes a fucking trap, because you become very trapped. And I think this is what happened to Dad as well. 1 of 5, like, I'm very privileged that I went to a private school. He's got 5 kids going through private schools. You can't really pivot pretty quickly when you've got that sheer level of, I guess, not debt, but shit that relies on your income to be in that role. So when I knew when I had to leave, I was desperately wanting to get out of this role, and I knew that I'd sat on this dream of me becoming a personal trainer and owning a gym and owning a business for way too long, that I left that role with only enough to pay myself for 8 weeks. And if I didn't figure it out in 8 weeks, I was fucked, pretty much. The house, I wouldn't be able to pay my mortgage, I wouldn't be able to pay my car. So that was probably the biggest, like, fuck, this is real. You've got 8 weeks. If you can't figure it out, well, fucking good luck, pretty much. But I always had in the back of my head was just, if it fucking doesn't work out, just go do the fucking job that you hated to begin with. It's always going to be there. Which I think a lot of people they just don't see that. It's like, oh, I'm going to leave. Well, if it doesn't work out, just go do the thing you were doing and you hate it. But fuck, man, when you get over the other side, that was the biggest driver for me, is to get this. I was like, I hate that job so much, I'll do anything to not go back there. That was the motivation for me internally. It was that pure game that I kept having with myself every day. I was like, I'll do anything to not go back to that job. And I think it served me pretty well in where we've got to now. Like, you've seen me and how we market. Fuck, man, we stood down at Scarborough Beach there with a fucking camera. I don't know too many people in the industry that would go do that. And it's because I purely always go back to, I feel like I'm always running away, and it's probably not great, but I feel like I'm always trying to run away from going back to that life I hated and felt so unfulfilled in. You've got to invest in yourself. I know, like, everyone says this to you, but like this year alone, and it's nice that I've got the income to match it now, but like, I reckon I've spent 50 grand, I'd say, close to, in production equipment, courses on personal branding. I'd be pretty fucking close. But I've always been like, for the first 4 years of building Strive, I didn't take a dime. I invested every cent into learning off people. And I think a lot of people think that they like, it's going to damage their ego. But I've always been like, fuck. I think it comes back to a bit of the ADHD. I'm really disciplined in getting what I want, but I'm also a very lazy person. And I hate the word lazy, but like, I just want to get to the goal as quick as I possibly can. And for me to do and get to where we are now, it's learning off others. I think it's such a if you're not learning off others, that's what the first thing you've got to leverage. Now, the first question is, what do I actually need to learn? Because I think for me, I didn't even know what I needed. I didn't know what I didn't know, pretty much. And for that, what I say to that kind of person is be curious. If there's something that you don't know right now, and that could be, for me, it started with, what does strength and conditioning look like? How do I become a really good strength and conditioning coach? And that door, I completed that course. And then I was like, oh, how do I do nutritional behavioral change? You go down that avenue. And then the doors just slowly start opening up. It's a bit of that like sliding door kind of theory that you'll just end up getting to where you want to be. I know that kind of sounds scary because it's not very systemized, but for someone who does like systems as well, it is scary. But being curious, always wanting to learn in others, investing in yourself is the true way to go, I reckon. This is right now, and look, who knows, I might change my mind. I don't think I'll ever be satisfied. Which sounds a bit sad. But I don't know, I can see myself being like 95, 90 and still like, I've even come up with this idea. I was like, I'm going to move down south. I'm going to buy a fucking property with some land, and I'm going to be like the 90-year-old personal trainer, and everyone's going to rock up to the garage, and we're just going to have like, do a few fucking squats, a few fucking push-ups, and then just have a coffee after. But that'll be the thing that I'll do. There's always going to be that pursuit of like learning. And it's something that my granddad right now, granddad's 80, he's still the CEO of the company. Look, maybe he's not like in the technical and the weeds of everything that the company's doing right now, but I think you've always got to be curious and constantly learning. So I don't think it's not, like I'm not motivated by fucking having a nice car, having the nicest house. I couldn't really care less. I think if that's your driver, that is gonna fade away very quickly when you learn that. When you get those things, you're like, what do I do now? But I'm always gonna be curious about how I can learn something new or do something a little bit better. Because I think if you turn that off, I don't know, fuck, dude, life will just be freaking boring. So no, I don't think there's ever gonna be a finish line for me. But that's the fun of it, right? That's the pursuit of learning. It's obviously going to get to a point where it's bigger than me. I definitely want it to be a point where I'm never going to be the guy that sells it. I don't want it to be a franchise. I don't like how the franchise models go in Australia. You lose that level of that quality. It just turns into this kind of vanilla experience for the client, and then the people running the show as well, the staff. I just hope it creates so much opportunity for coaches within the space where they can have a life where they're truly passionate about helping others, and they can actually stay in a career where they can have kids, they can buy themselves a house. I definitely want it to yield that for others, but also make a massive impact in the lives and the health and fitness of Australians, right? Of people in their 40s, 50s and 60s who currently right now, they're really intimidated to come to a gym like this, but now they have a real safe third space, which is funny what the sauna's going to be, the recovery club's going to be called, but they have that third space where they can come and improve themselves and then be able to keep doing the things they love with the people they love as well for life. So that's the broader kind of mission, the two missions I've got right now. I think what I need to tell myself more is just to do it satisfied, and don't become too addicted to the constant pursuit where you're not there for others. Like my partner, I think we have seasons where you're grinding. They might see less of you, but still keep pulling that person along. Don't lose sight of that person. Don't lose sight of your family, your friends, because you're so in it. Because that's where I can see my biggest downfall going with this constant pursuit is, not pulling others along with you. So I hope that for the dude there in 10 years, you've been able to balance that art of that kind of curiosity and addiction to keep getting better, but not leaving your mate, not leaving your friends and your family behind, I think is the big one. I hope that doesn't, happen, because I think you can go definitely down a path, and getting out of that path when you become so addicted, and I know that's the sort of person that I could become, is just in that constant pursuit of learning and learning and learning. The people around you don't get the best of you because you're in that search. So yeah. Yeah. That's the thing that scares me the fucking most. Because I'm addicted to and curious to constantly keep learning, that I could do that for 24 hours a day, and then the only person that gets the best of me, or that, is me, and then the others are in my life get 50% of me. It's probably the scariest thing I can see for myself right now. And that's the thing I'm finding the hardest to pull myself out of. And I to be honest, I don't know. I still am struggling with it. I don't know how to balance it. I think a lot of founders would probably resonate with that as well. Is that art of balancing your fucking addiction to do what you want to do and your dream to make it a reality. Yeah, but balancing the other people in your life.
Do you think that the balance exists?
I think you need to create the balance. I probably tell myself that I'm going through a season right now, that's just what it's going to be like. I think you need to sit back and really go like, that person needs a little bit more from me right now. I need to kind of not park my ambition, but make sure that I make time to support that person, rather than being like, fuck it, it's a season. Like, I've done this before with my mates. And it's probably the toughest thing to gain their trust back again, because I just went, not fuck it, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to fucking make this happen. No one else I literally just went fucking ghost. I just went ghost for fucking 2 years. And it's actually a struggle, because I rock up to my mates' events sometimes and I go like, they've got new partners. I go, who are you? And they don't even know who the fuck I am. And all my mates obviously know who I am, but it's when I rock up and it kind of goes, fuck. I ask that, their partner, oh, how long have you been with X? And they go, oh, the last year. And you go, fuck. Like, it's been a year. And I've just like not even taken any time to be with these people. And it's not like I'm palming them. It's just I've become so addicted in the goal I want to achieve that no one else gets any of me. So yeah, it's fucking scary. It's a fucking scary thing. It's probably been my biggest. It's my biggest strength is how fucking addicted I am to learning. It's also my biggest weakness, because I struggle with balance. But yeah, so it's funny because on that wall there that we walked in, like it said, the first goal, it's always been like a little mini goal to get here. But I remember 5 years ago, this is a meta freaking story. But so when I was at uni, I was doing exercise science at the start, and then I turned into health and safety, which led me down that kind of corporate path. But I work next door, which is a cafe for all of you tuning in. And I worked there for about 5 years. So I would have been about 18 here. And to the owner, bless her, she actually comes to the gym now, which is fucking even more meta. But I said to her back then, I was like, I'm going to open a gym next door. And like, just to think about like, what the hell? Like, I'm not a very woo-wooey kind of person. But like, I said to her, I'm going to open a gym next door. I didn't even know what that gym looked like. I just knew that I wanted to do that. And here we are, like, I think it's 8 years later now that I said that. We've built a gym and now we're opening a recovery club. I knew that I was going to open a gym. Like, that was my goal. The fact that I said it was going to be next door and it happened, that's just fucking weird. And even the more full circle moment is I met my partner next door as well. And so we've been together for the last, I hope I don't butcher this, Phoebes, 6 years now. So this space is just, it's like my life, pretty much being here. And it's created so many opportunities for others, and then it's means so much to myself and my partner and our kind of family. So yeah, I couldn't, I said it was going to happen, but I couldn't have dreamed that it actually did happen. 5 years time in the future is I just see myself helping others do the exact same. I think that's what I really can see. And then also them help us build Australia's friendliest wellness brand as well in doing that. Yeah, it sucks. It's probably going to be a little less on the floor, the coaching, which I am truly passionate about. Every time I get on the floor, I'm like, fuck, I'd way rather be here than, doing kind of the shit that needs to be done. But you got to know where your strengths lie in a business. And I know the biggest thing that's going to drive this business forward is how I lead others and how I mentor others. So that's where it's going to probably be less of George coaching on the floor, but more leading the team to help us drive that mission home of being Australia's friendliest wellness brand. Yeah, it's twofold. It's creating a safe and supportive space for people who, and I've touched on it a little bit before here, but it's just, creating that safe and supportive space for people who aren't gym people to feel like they have that third space, that home, to get stronger and fitter for the long run. So that's where that's kind of where our company direction is going to be going. So for me, showing up online, it's going to be a lot of showing you guys the behind the scenes of how we are opening up these 10 gyms in 10 years. But then it's also going to be, I just want to provide as much fucking value as possible to the guy that was George, 18-year-old George, who wanted to do this exact thing, and kind of the steps I took to get there. And I guess create a roadmap for that guy to get to where we're going in 10 years' time, which is having those 10 gyms in 10 years. So they're the two kind of things you are going to see from me. And God, who knows? You'll probably see a few fucking random things across the way as well that I come up with. I'm sure there's going to be more ideas that come into my head. Let's just make sure I sit on them for a little bit of time. I'm just really excited to... Well, it goes back to that learning, right? Is learning off others. Learning off others who are in different industries, because sometimes you get into a silo of, for me, it's gym ownership, right? You're just surrounded by gym owners. But I love when I come and talk to you guys down at Halo, it's like, it's just a different world, but we can still connect those worlds together and learn off each other. And I think that's for the potty here. It's going to be exactly that. It's going to be us like being that, sharing that information across the lines and learning off others is what I'm really excited for. And having those conversations about how you guys are building your business, your training. What do you see is working right now through a self-improvement kind of lens? And I guess broadly how you're kind of designing a meaningful life for the long run. So that's what I'm really excited about. You got 60 seconds. Everything was wiped clean. It's funny, I wrote this question. I didn't even think of how I'd answer it, which is cool. Be curious. Invest in others. Learn off others. And just seriously keep putting one step in front of the other, no matter how small it is. is what I'd say to that guy. And I promise you, you'll get there. Don't put a time frame on it. Don't say you're going to get there in a year. Just let the doors start to open and just keep stepping through those doors. All right, guys. Right, so this is going to be a daily pursuit. We're going to be talking about all things business, training, self-improvement, and how to design a meaningful life for the long run. So this is episode 1. The boys and I thought it would be a really good idea for you to learn a little bit more about me, what drives me to open these gyms in the next, or 10 gyms in the next 10 years. You guys can find this on all platforms, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. Stay tuned. This is EP 1. A lot more to come. Let's go. Fuck yeah, we done it. Done the first one. Let's go. Oh shit, that was cool.